Have you been to a lot of comedy clubs in strange places, probably?
I
over
have.
the
I
years?
just did Toledo, Iowa a couple of months ago. Toledo, Iowa. Not Ohio. Iowa. Toledo, Iowa. And it's a very small town. Very, very small town. And I was there with Kevin McDonald and a couple other people for a comedy festival. And I was wandering around. There was a Chinese restaurant. There was a Mexican restaurant. There was a garden center. And I went into the garden center because it said it had coffee. It did not. She said, "Oh, I can make you some." And then she said, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I said, "I am not." And she goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Los Angeles," in Toledo, Ohio. Iowa, rather. And she said, "You don't look like you're from Toledo. You don't look like you're from Los Angeles. You look like you're from here." And she was correct. We did look similar. We looked a lot alike, me and that lady.
Now, you just got back from Hong Kong.
I
Could you
did
tell
do
us
a
a little bit
stand-up.
about that.
I did stand up in Hong Kong, and it was lovely. I was telling you that the audiences were great, but they were essentially British and American and Australian and Canadian. They were mostly just expats and Chinese people who English was their first language and who were working. But it was mostly people who work in Hong Kong, but English is their first language, came to the shows. You know, they were having a lovely time, but I don't think that they knew a lot about comedy. They weren't like in Moontower. These are all comedy dorks. And so they would watch the show and they had a good time, but I don't think that they're comedy fans. So they were laughing, but also kind of looking at me like, is this what comedy is? I'm uncertain what comedy is. All right, this is good though. I'm having a good time. So it was very conflicted.
Now that you're touring the world and stuff, do you ever have time to still go to open mics or anything? Or?
I did 2 open mics in Hong Kong.
Whoa, what were Hong Kong open mics like?
Hong Kong open mics were okay. It was funny because there was a Chinese guy. There were a couple of Chinese comics, but that were from Hong Kong. But there are no Chinese-speaking open mics for some reason in Hong Kong. It was clearly his like 3rd or 4th time on stage because he was swearing and he was very nervous and English wasn't his first language, so he was trying to get all the words in the right order. And he was great though. He was so great, and he was talking about how Chinese people hate on other Chinese people. It was a great premise. It was just like sort of black on black crime. And he was like, white guys just go up to each other and go, "Hey, look, it's another white guy." And I was like, I don't know that that's actually true, but okay. And he was like, but Chinese guys go up to each other and go, "Where are you from in China?" "Yeah? Well, that's not a cool part of China. I'm from this other part of China that's cooler." Or "I'm from Taiwan or Singapore." "What are you, from Hong Kong?" And so it was a fascinating...
Yeah.
It's a good story. I could go on for another 2 minutes. Why don't I spare us all?